Ladies and gentlemen, in this recap, we're going to be recapping every single off-season tournament that's happening after Champions. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, as I will be covering Ascension when that starts. It's recap time. First, let's discuss the Ascension dates. EMEA is already happening and it started on August 31st and it's going to be going on until September 15th. BCT Ascensions Americas is starting September 9th to 21st, and I will be recapping every single day's matches when they occur. BCT Ascension Pacific, which notably has DSG, is starting September 20th to 29th, and VCT Ascension China is happening September 11th to September 21st. Let's discuss actual off-season tournaments. Pacific, with a whopping 14 off-season tournaments. They are hosting the Red Bull Homeground APAC qualifier. How the Red Bull Homeground is working this year is they already invited 3 teams, Fnatic, Carmine, Focus. How Red Bull Homeground is working this year is that NA, EMEA, and APAC all have play-ins. The winner of that play-ins tournament will qualify to the actual Red Bull Homeground, as well as 2 international play-ins, which you don't really need to know about. It's more, the international play-ins are more nationally EMEA, so countries like Germany and other EMEA countries will be participating in that qualifier. Also, the Convergence 2024. Last year, Gen G participated in this tournament. They're now a historic roster and arguably the best team of this year. So, I mean, I'm sure that's unlikely to happen again, but you never know. EMEA has 8 off-season tournaments. They're obviously hosting the Red Bull Homeground in Berlin. There's also the Superdome, which is more for big tier 1 EMEA teams that always participated. I believe Fnatic participated in 1 year and won. Superdome is always something to look out for if you're a big EMEA fan. Then we have Americas, the Red Bull Homegrounds qualifier, as I previously mentioned. For NA, it's happening September 29th. Sentinels is competing in that, so if you're a big Sentinels fan like me, you should be excited. So I have Cloud9, Moisex Shopify, and the winners of the Red Bull Open qualifier, which is, there's a lot of qualifiers, but YFP, which is a pretty good tier 2 team. They played pretty well in playoffs and group stages. Then we have 2 Sentinels show matches happening October 9th and October 22nd. Last year, Sentinels played against Moisex Shopify and G2. Mankata notably played on the Moisex Shopify show match, and then the last match of the Sentinels Invitational, and it was never to be seen on the Sentinels roster. Saucy is currently rumored to not be playing for the Sentinels team next year, so we'll see. So if that rumor is true, we'll see who Sentinels is replacing for Saucy, so that'll be cool to see. Then we have the Ludwig and Tarik Invitational Free happening October 12th to 13th. This is personally my favorite off-season tournament, as I love seeing tier 2 teams and tier 1 teams play against each other to see if there's actually a big skill gap, if tier 2 teams are better. Last year, tier 2 teams absolutely destroyed this tournament. One thing to note out that's different is that the Invitational is actually happening October 12th to 13th. Last 2 Invitationals, they usually advertise themselves as the first off-season or the first Valorant tournament of that year, so 2023 and 2024. This year, they're hosting it earlier because the last 2 years they had problems inviting teams because teams obviously wanted to hide strats from the other teams, as the main season was starting a month before that tournament, so they didn't want to leak too much strats. So it was obviously a hard time inviting teams to that tournament, and the tier 1 teams that did show up played literally to scrim. It wasn't a good showing or like a good quality matches from the tier 1 teams, so I like that they pushed it earlier. Hopefully we get a playoff bracket, but with the 2 days it probably would be more like 6 teams. Hopefully we get more than 4 teams, as I feel like more teams the better. We then have the SEN City Classic, which is basically the SEN Invitational, but they renamed it, so that's cool. That's happening November 1st to 3rd. The notable thing about this one compared to last year is Rob Moore put out his own personal tweet saying that tier 1 teams can apply to play in this tournament, so hopefully we get more of a variety of tier 1 teams playing in it. Then the China off-season tournaments you can see here. I'm not too into the China tournaments, so if you're a big China fan, I hope you're excited for those tournaments. We then have Challengers. The notable thing about Challengers from this year than last year. Last year, obviously, Challengers just had 2 splits, the Ascension tournament, and then that was it. There was like a 7-month off season or something ridiculously long. So this year they added another split, which is happening end of October, beginning of November, however you want to describe the image that's on the screen. That's what's happening this year. So the first official Challenger split will happen, so if you're a tier 2 fan, that's exciting to look out for, and it gives me something to watch when I'm waiting for the franchise events. Finally, the Game Changers Championship is happening in the Riot Games Arena in Berlin, Germany from November 8th to 17th. Big off-season year for Berlin, Germany. Cool thing about the Game Changer Championship this year is that they're growing 10 teams, which is really cool to see. There are still 2 NA slots, and EMEA has a massive 3 slots now, which is really cool to see. And the Game Changers is exciting because you get to witness the female side of Valorant. That is the recap. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will be trying my best to cover Ascension every day starting September 9th.